Hello and welcome to Binge Watch, where this week we're setting our sights on the silver screen and this year's Oscars. I'm joined by culture reporters Annabel, Nugent and Adam White.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to be delving into our predictions for what films might win the top prizes, our personal favourites, and of course the snubs and surprises that may lay in store.
How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
It's fierce competition this year. Best actor now we go on to, where we have, well, it's Giamatti versus Murphy, really. So Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, and Bradley Cooper for the film I will not mention. Maestro, what are we thinking? Giamatti v Murphy? Place your bets.
Yes.
Yes to both.
Place your bets. You want both? Shared.
Rip it in half.
That'd be
Rip
great.
it in half.
That would be like a great end to awards season.
It would be. It's annoying because they're both like very, maybe they're quite similar. Very interior performances. They're not like big and showy. Unlike a certain Bradley Cooper, who is doing the most.
I love people so much that it's hard for me to be alone.
Can you want an Oscar too much? And what's happening
I've
here.
got a feeling though, because he's been very quiet now awards seasons, like in full gear. He's at these ceremonies, but nothing's centered around him, and he's kind of like this just odd presence, imagining this like alternate history where he's like getting up on stage. That I think he's been a bit humbled and has realised that he's gone a bit too hard, and I think this might be a good turning point for him going forwards.
One can hope.
One can hope.
It's weird. I think it's like it's an Oscars of two halves, because I think you get these films that are quite like interesting and unusual, that are things like Oppenheimer, which is not kind of conventional in many ways, and then you have stuff like Zone of Interest, and even Anatomy of a Fall I think is quite unique in what it's doing. But then you have movies like Rustin and you have movies like Maestro that are just very, very conventional biopics revolving around one kind of central big performance. And I think that those performances are getting a bit lost in the shuffle, which I think is probably a good thing, because most of the time they're quite boring.
It's like that classic thing, isn't it? We'll come to it with Best Actress as well. There's one there this year where, a film gets nominated that kind of has no place being nominated, but because of the performance, which essentially just carries the film. That's the only reason to watch the film. And Coleman Domingo is one of them. I'm glad he's great though. He's obviously been working so hard for so long, and it means a lot to him. It's nice when you see a nomination mean so much to someone, isn't it? With Giamatti and Murphy, what is quite interesting is I think there's been this kind of, and I'm very responsible as well in this, is Paul Giamatti is this like kind of Hollywood heavyweight, kind of has been turning in these supporting roles for a long, long time, and he's only ever got one nomination for Cinderella Man, didn't get one for Sideways, which is insane. And here he is now, this is his moment. However, Cillian Murphy, very similar trajectory.
Yeah.
So like doesn't deserve it any less. But what's your feelings on how the Academy will go? I guess I'm asking you to predict who's going to win out of them two.
I think weirdly, Cillian Murphy has this kind of reputation of being sort of new. And there's like loads of like articles and kind of interviews where they frame him almost as this kind of, who is this man? Where does he come from? And I'm guessing it's like an American thing, but he has been in
he's been around
big
for
American
ages,
films for like 2 decades at least. But there's this idea that he's kind of arrived and this is his like time. And I think maybe Paul Giamatti might be almost too familiar by now. So there's not so much a sense of, give that to that man, he deserves it. Which is strange.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
It's an interesting one because Paul Giamatti, for me, in The Holdovers, it seems to be the more kind of Oscar-y role in terms of what they like to give it to. And Oppenheimer is obviously so technically impressive and impressive in other ways that they might be distracted by that. But it does, like the Screen Actors Guild Award went the way of Cillian Murphy, which seems to be a big precursor.
And BAFTA.
And obviously the BAFTAs, which was less surprising, but also like, oh, okay, it's going this way. So it seems like it's going Murphy's way, Cillian's way, which is great. Victory for the Irish. But Paul Giamatti I feel like he will never win one if he doesn't win it for
That's
this.
quite sad. Yeah. If it's like now or never.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But maybe it ain't. Like maybe we're just getting caught up in the fever of it all.
Yeah.
I'll be a bit annoyed because I feel like if Paul Giamatti wins, because like everyone has seen Oppenheimer, and because The Holdovers, if you haven't seen The Holdovers, it has this kind of vibe. It has a bad trailer. I remember that quite vividly. The trailer is quite hokey and strange.
They're known as The Holdovers.
And I feel like if you haven't seen The Holdovers and then Paul Giamatti wins, I can sense a kind of backlash against that win, where it would be kind of, this movie's really boring and this is a boring performance. And then Cillian Murphy is this like deeply intense center of this giant film. And I think that would be a massive shame. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Cillian Murphy kind of has it in the bag. Yeah. But if Paul Giamatti wins, I don't want it to be a Jamie Lee Curtis thing, and I worry that it will be, where it's kind of, that was a mess. Why did they do that? Yeah. Don't like that.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. That would be a shame for that film to have such a, or that performance have a backlash. All right, so who do you want and who do you think?
I think Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
I think I want Paul Giamatti, just because you said now or never.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with
He'll get a
either.
consolation In-N-Out burger, though, that's for sure, if he loses.
That's true.
Because he eats In-N-Out. What about you?
I would probably say the same. I think it's likely to be Cillian. Although I don't agree with the whole never gonna win thing. I feel like he has like Best Supporting Actor 2030,
But
like sewed up.
leading.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
Yeah, like
he'll get a Cinderella Man once again,
Yeah.
and then he'll get the Oscar.
I don't think anyone deserves it more, but I would say at this stage, I think Cillian Murphy is going to win, and I'd be really happy to see Paul Giamatti win.
I find the world a bitter and complicated place, and it seems to feel the same way about me. I think you and I have this in common.
Best Actress now, where we have Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Emma Stone for Poor Things, Annette Bening for Naiad, and Carey Mulligan for Maestro. It's like a two-horse race, it feels, between Gladstone and Stone. So whoever wins will have Stone in the name. I like
Hilarious.
that. You didn't like that. I think it's a two-horse race between them. Again, like Lily Gladstone didn't get nominated for a BAFTA, which hurt her chances, but then she won at the Screen Actors Guild, and I think Emma Stone even seems almost like she doesn't want to be winning this one, because I think she loves Lily Gladstone. You've seen it on the circuit, I think, and her reaction when Lily won at the Screen Actors Guild, she was so excited.
I didn't know it was a two-horse race.
What, so do we think there's a little
No, I don't
outside bet
know.
from
I thought I
Adam's
would
favourite?
I would want Sandra Hüller to win. I think that's the strongest performance there.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do we think Oscar voters are going to go that way, though?
Well, my theory is that a few years ago, everyone just assumed that Glenn Close would win for The Wife. Does anyone remember The Wife? It was the Rustin of 2020. And everyone was very kind of like, oh, she's never had a win. It'll be Glenn Close. And it was Olivia Colman who kind of swept in very, very unexpectedly.
For the favourite.
It was a really lovely surprise win that even she seemed very, very surprised by.
Oh, thank you so much. Lady Gaga.
A part of me thinks that Sandra Hüller potentially could be that person.
I'd love that.
That would be the moment of the night.
People will be more baffled by it than anything. But I wouldn't be completely floored if she did sweep in at the last minute.
I love it.
I don't know if that's a mad hypothesis.
She's just phenomenal in it.
Brilliant.
She's so good.
And obviously she was in the zone of interest as well.
It feels like to be her year.
You complain about the life that you chose. You're not a victim. Not at all.
Be fair. I'm a man who's been cheated on.
I just reduced it to Lily Gladstone versus Emma Stone, which is a toss-up, I thought, but now you've really excited me thinking...
Well, I think, because Emma Stone, that's I think it's an amazing performance, but that film is quite, difficult. There are many people that would find it, way too sexual, way too experimental, which I think might potentially be an issue for her winning. And even Killers of the Flower Moon, I think there isn't a love for that film. It's kind of what you were saying earlier. There isn't this kind of rabid passion behind it. And as good as Lily Gladstone is in that movie, I think she's, it's an amazing performance. She's probably not in it that much. Compared to those other two performances, she's kind of more of a kind of ambiguous presence in it. And it's a great presence, but it's not relentless.
I agree with that. I think the film does her dirty a bit. And it's the nature of the plot, but it's also the nature of the way that they've basically centered Leonardo DiCaprio. As much as they say they haven't, which they were really banging that drum, they have, and Lily Gladstone does fall by the wayside as the film goes on.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it would be, for me, an underwhelming win.
Why did you come here?
Interesting. It's an interesting racist one. It's an exciting one. In fact, the acting ones this year, save for, I guess, supporting actress, is like really kind of, it could be anyone's. All right, so we want Sandra Hüller to win. And we think, this is exciting, who do you think will win?
I think it'll be Lily Gladstone.
Okay.
I also think it'll be Lily Gladstone. I think that's more likely.
I think it'll be Emma Stone.
Oh.
I think Emma Stone's going to give us the beach where she feels like, I shouldn't have won this, which has been the theme of the awards season.
Bella.
Oh.
Bud.
Oh. Blood.
Bud.
Blood.
Thanks for watching Binge Watch. We hope you get a chance to catch some of our top picks on the big screen while you still can. The Oscars take place on Sunday the 10th of March, and you can follow along with all the coverage if you just head on over to the independent websites. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow along with all the latest updates and film trailers on Instagram and TikTok.